This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Sean Preston.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today, we have a lovely neighbor on with us, and that is Alicia Stewart of Colourfully Studio. What's going on, girl?
Not much. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Super happy to be doing this. For those who don't know, my significant other's bestie is on the show today. I had an opportunity to hang out with these two on the weekend, did some boating, got to sit by the pool. We had some drinks. We had a good time. As in our circle, we are a lot of friends with a lot of other business owners. And so really glad that we could have an opportunity to dive in and let everybody know your story. For those who are on video, can see Alicia has phenomenal hair. Her colors in her hair, they change all the time as being a hairstylist. And so for those who are now obviously know what you do, let's dive into it. Let's talk a little bit about your business.
All right. Well, obviously, I'm a hairstylist, so it narrows it down quite a bit what I do. I super specialize in color, but it does not have to be crazy colors such as blue and purple like mine are. I also am really phenomenal at making anyone's hair look as natural as it can look, almost identical as to what it grows out as much as it can look like that. Or, I don't know, anything with color. It opens up a whole world of opportunity for everything and anything. It's so broad that it's really hard to get specific and say what I do because everyone's head is so different. So I guess it's super fun to take color in that kind of perspective as trying to match and mimic what their hair is going to naturally do to help them have the most long maintenance as possible, which is so fun.
Yeah, that's definitely something I think the general public, non-expert hairstylists such as yourself, I would say, could maybe put myself in that category. Don't understand it, been getting my hair cut for a very long time. But with that being said, there's a lot that goes into it, like you were mentioning, contour of your head, the shape, how hair grows. Everybody's a bit unique and different from that perspective. But when it comes to color specifically, because there's different, I guess, kind of niche points to styling hair, cutting hair. What is it about color that you're so passionate about?
I think I really like to paint as well. So I think maybe just the artistic side of getting to paint and envision more of the abstract world, because I was never able to paint realism. I always kind of took an abstract take to realism whenever I've painted. So it's kind of a new canvas for me. And my soul gets real happy when I get to do that. It's so, and the math and the chemistry behind the science of the hair and the way that it takes color and the way that it works and the, what's a good word? It's very grounding, I guess, because it has a mathematical and logistic thing to follow. And then you can take it and get creative from there. So in that sense, you always know that you're doing the right thing for that head of hair, knowing behind the scenes side of like if the pH is right and if the strength is still there and all that kind of shit. So, I don't know. I guess that's the best way I could put it.
So there's got to be, correct me if I'm wrong, there's got to be like different types of people that take or have different opinions on color of hair, right? Like you got to have your typical person who goes with that, normal blonde color, someone who's got more of like a reddish hair color, somebody who wants to maybe go to a black. And then you have the more kind of vibrant aspects, like the colors that you have currently in your hair. When people kind of come in, I'm just curious to know, people in general, when they come in, is there a difference between somebody who's generally speaking, always gone with, I like my blonde highlights and this and that, to all of a sudden, changing it over? Is there something that happens in somebody when they're like, you know what, I'm going from platinum highlights to, like a full on fiery red, or vice versa?
There's a couple different things that happen. Sometimes we in general go through kind of rebirths and step into our new person as we grow and as we're supposed to grow as we move along. So I find that sometimes when people come into that new stage of new life or just a new mindset even, And the trust that we've built together over the years oftentimes too kind of lets them feel safe enough to be like, okay, I really feel like I need a change. We've been able to have this relationship for however long, and you know my hair, I know her, I know kind of a lot about her because we get chatting. We're here for hours sometimes behind the chair. So it kind of opens up this world of safety place for her and creative freedom for me to do something that will change and feel good, or wherever direction we're trying to take it. And it's just kind of fun to see what the hair does, go from there. Sometimes it doesn't do what we want, so we have to change halfway through. So talking that through sometimes is fun. I don't know. It's just a journey, and it's different every time, which keeps me, I don't know, not bored, I guess is a good way to put it.
Yeah, totally. Staying stagnant, doing the same thing over and over again is the definition of insanity. So glad that it's not like that for you.
No.
Tell our listeners a little bit about your journey. How and why did you get into doing what you're doing today?
I always really enjoy doing my hair. I have 3 younger sisters, so I did their hair all the time, to like learning how to braid. They all had terrible haircuts when I was like 12. My Barbies had horrible haircuts. But by, I don't know, maybe 14, 15, I was getting pretty good. And I decided to volunteer with my childhood hairstylist. I guess we went to the same church. So I helped with a Christmas cantata, doing the hair for a bunch of plays and stuff like that for a couple years. And by the end of it, she was like, "You're pretty good. You could pursue this if you wanted to." And at that point, I hadn't thought of it. It had not really thought of as like a career in my head. I thought it was like, oh, you play with hair, whatever, not that cool or not worthy of being able to pay bills or anything like that, until I kind of looked into it more and realized that it is what you put into it. And there's so much opportunity in that world. Once I got into it, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm supposed to be here. This is so cool. I was so excited with how much more math and chemistry there was involved, and like how much more brain I needed to use, which made me like, I don't know, it just all confirmed that it was for me. And as I kept doing it and the hardships that happened, it kept feeling like right, even though it was like a struggle. It was like when you got through it, it felt good, and then you could grow and get better, because everything's such a learning curve, because it's such a hands-on thing to do. So like you can read in a book about how to angle a haircut and whatever, and then go to do it and be like, oh shit, that doesn't really look like that. So sometimes it was fun. I remember I learned my first men's cut on a real dude in the school. She was like, "Alicia, you're going to learn men's cut today." I was like, "Okay." "On who?" She was like, I can't remember his name. "Bob, he's in the chair." And I was like, "Oh, right now." She's like, "Yep, get your clippers." It's like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like trying not to pee. Well, I'm so scared. And she just has my hand on the clippers, making me do it. Like, just had to jump right in and learn. So that part was cool. And then, yeah, as I went to, right out of hair school, I went and worked at a mall salon, and it was super busy, took lots of walk-ins, really kind of learned a lot by watching other stylists because it was so busy. So every time I was watching other people work and learn and pick up and kind of see how other people did the same kind of thing I learned, which really helped me realize there's a play on everything, which was cool. And I'm a much more visual learner, so to get to see what other people did and then how it laid, how it styled, that really helped my brain kind of put pieces together of things that I wasn't quite understanding. And then as I got to like get really involved and get to actually do a lot of the hairs, I fell in love with color like right away. I love cutting, but color just like made it so fun. I loved watching the bowl change color as it oxidized. I loved seeing the result on the head and how much different it looked from wet to dry and all the different things. And as I got more perfectionism into my work, it started to take me longer because I was creating different things, and where I was, that did not work. So in COVID, I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I have to be able to give the right like level of experience, and it takes more time than I was being rushed where I was. It wasn't working. So I was like, I got to do this on my own, so I can give my guests the experience I want to give them. I want them to have bomb ass hair, and I don't want to have to care how long it takes me to do it. Like, that's not of my, I don't know, you can't rush the perfection of art. It just kind of is what it is. So I found the salon that I'm working out of now. So I rent a booth now. And then from there, I've just been so excited to keep learning and growing on my own and learn business. That's been fun. and marketing and all the shit. So I don't know. I guess that's kind of my journey till about here. I'm still just learning and enjoying the process and the journey as I learn, and kind of just take each lesson as it kind of flows up into my face.
So where does the math and chemistry come into all of this for somebody who doesn't know? How and when does that come into the process when you're doing someone's hair?
So chemistry is all in the color. So our hair has a natural pH level of around 4.5 to 5.5. And different colors are alkaline or acidic to either raise or lower to be able to remove color. Like lightener, it's very alkaline, so it's going to remove that, like it's removing all that pigment out of your hair, and it's opening that cuticle and all that kind of stuff. And then acidic things are going to close that cuticle back down, bringing the health back down. Think of like shingles on a roof type thing, open to close. So that's why you get the smooth feeling when your hair is back at its natural pH, more acidic. Of every single color is either a pH or acidic. It depends on what it's trying to do. The stronger it is, like covering gray, it's going to be higher to kind of open that up a little bit to allow the color to get in. But every color line is different, so there it gets complicated again.
Wow.
So you really have to then learn your color line. Yeah. And then like hair cutting is like all math, basically. Whether or not you're elevated to the ground at 0 degrees, you're 90 from the head, you're elevated, or any graduation or layering is kind of up and down around the head. All that kind of fun stuff. I don't know the better way to explain it. I'm not the best at that part.
That was pretty good. For those that are on video, got a little bit more of a visual for that. But certainly that's what I wanted to illustrate based off where the conversation was going at a first glance. When you know, even for myself, finally having a conversation. I've only had, I think, one other conversation with a hairstylist on the show so far. So, you know, and we're diving into some other stuff that wasn't overly discussed on the last call either. And, you know, it just kind of brings it to light that there's a lot more that goes on behind the chair than most people think from that standpoint. So what are some myths or misconceptions you get from clients when they come in and see you?
I would say one big one actually that I've heard is that we don't want to hear, like, if you don't like your hair. I personally don't care if you don't like something. I would much rather you tell me like, hey, this piece feels weird. Can you do something to it? And me do something and you walk out actually having a better positive feel about your hair and yourself, rather than being like, oh, I don't really like it. I don't know. And then trying to fix it yourself or trying to go somewhere else. It just gets all complicated and weird. And it just builds that trust too. Like I would much, much rather my people just say, hey, Alicia, like, can this be darker? Can this be a bit brighter? Like, can we cut right here? It feels too thick. Like I would so much rather just communicate all the way through the process and then be happy at the end. And I don't really care if that takes me 3 times cutting your bangs. My girls know sometimes it took me 4 times before we're like perfectly happy with the length. I don't care because it's not my hair. But what it is it's my job to make sure you love your hair. And it's an investment and an experience and in time. And it's so important to me that they leave happy.
Well, we're all human. Nobody's perfect. So, and everybody's got a bunch of different needs. So, you know, telling your stylist that you're not, overly enthusiastic about one thing or another, I think that goes a long way with making sure that you're getting the right experience when you go in and get your hair styled or colored.
Oh, totally.
Okay, so I know a little bit about this question because we just had some fun on the weekend. But for those who don't know you, as in-depth as maybe somebody like myself, there's working on your business, there's working in your business, and as cool as it is to be a business owner, and for all the varieties of guests that we have on the show, and what we all do for a living and being in the small, medium-sized business world, that's just one component to life. Obviously, building a business is great, but we're all human beings. We all like to have fun. I certainly know I like to have fun. I know you do as well, too. So for our listeners, when you're not working on or in your business, what does Alicia like to do for fun?
Well, I definitely love to be outside, and hopefully good weather is the best. I'll go outside anywho. I have 2 big dogs, so we hike a lot or just suntan outside. We do a lot of outdoor activity, whether it's swimming, we've got a boat. Me and my hubby love to just be outdoors together. Truly, we love to camp. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of just home stuff lately, trying not to spend too crazy amounts of money trying to do fun shit outside, but been loving being outside and enjoying sunshine this year. It's been really good for my soul. But your girl loves to shop. She loves to have a Duck Girls night out dancing and having some drinks too, but I think my heart definitely lies in the nature.
Yeah, I would echo that sentiment. We're going backcountry camping this upcoming weekend, which we're pretty excited about. When you do camping, do you bring the dogs? Do you do the car camping? Do you do backcountry camping? A little bit of everything?
Do a little bit of everything. And in COVID, we did so much Crown Land camping. And at this time, we just had one dog, and we brought him always. We lived there like every single weekend. That whole time I was off work, it was amazing. Curtis made me this perfect little toilet, and like we built the fireplace. Like, it was great. But I think we're gonna do one that's kind of a bit more backcountry. So I think this year we're not gonna bring the dogs just because I don't know what's happening. But then we're gonna do another one for sure that they're coming, because I feel bad when they don't come. It's like their favorite thing.
Yeah, I took Jax twice, 2 or 3 times backcountry camping last year. His first one, we went to McCrae Lake, and he was an absolute stud on that trip. His first time, like, I looked at him, I'm like, who are you? Like, have you done this before? Like, he was so perfect. He listened so good. He was just absolutely dialed in his element. And just the tether that we had together while we were out there, I didn't have to do too much. He doesn't wander. He's always, listening to what I'm doing, and he just made it easy for us to do our thing. And then once I knew he was good, I went out. I backed a company called Saker, Saker. They're a Canadian company. And this was there's an app that people can use where companies, when they're startups, before they actually launch, they'll go on and they'll offer a significant discount on their products. So I got, I think, like 60 or 70% off. I bought almost their entire product line, but it's basically the Yeti of dog harnesses. Their motto is that you should be able to bring your dog anywhere, right? Why can't you bring your dog anywhere? So their harnesses are crash tested. They're super durable. They have airplane buckles on them. And then they got the packs on the side. So he can full on bring his, everything that he needs, he can bring it. I don't have to carry it, which is really nice. And then, I've got a tick remover for him from them. And then he's also got a light. So at nighttime, and there's a couple of different modes, dogs can see red. So at nighttime, if I want to keep track of him, I put the red light on. And he can venture through the bush if he wants, and then they got a cool little like bladder pack as well too. So when we're out there, he needs a drink of water, that type of thing, and it doesn't waste the water; it goes back in.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, it's really cool to see them outside in like the complete wilderness of nowhere, and how much they just are so living their best life and so happy, but also just so want to stay close too. Like, they have no want to go anywhere; they just enjoy being with you.
Yeah, we talked about that on the weekends, just being outside and them not wanting to be out there until you go out there and then sit down, and then they're just perfectly happy to just chill while you're chilling out there.
It's like, oh, you're gonna sit outside? Oh, okay, I'll come back out.
Yeah, right. So in life, we pick a path, right? We decide to walk this path of life. Everybody's got different goals, wants, needs. And life sometimes will get in the way. It'll throw challenges at us. Sometimes it'll throw hardships. Sometimes those hardships they come in different forms. Sometimes they're tragedies. Some people have it a little bit easier than others. Others a little bit more bad luck with certain things. But what's always, I guess, I've been fascinated about have been how human beings, progress through this. So we have a level of hope. We take a look at the glass half full, find silver linings from things that happen to us, because we don't have a choice. We have to move forward, and that is such as life. So I wanted to ask you if you've ever experienced a hardship or a life challenge that maybe you rose above, maybe it made you better, maybe it made you stronger, maybe you took some silver linings from it.
I have one that made me a lot stronger. When I was Yes, I was 16. Our family lost our home. And this was like about a year after my parents had split. My deadbeat dad was obviously doing nothing. I came home and there was an eviction notice on the front door from school one day. I was like, oh, okay. So I had no idea we were struggling, all that kind of stuff, whatever. It wasn't very long they had given us. So I have 4 siblings. So there's 3 girls and 1 brother. So four of us girls all together. I went to live with one of my girlfriends. One of my sisters lived with another girlfriend. And then the 3 youngest of my mom moved in with another friend. And then that was like that for quite some time. I then moved in with another family that ended up taking me in, who my mom worked with at the time. I didn't know them. My mom had basically just been like, hey, we need help. Can you take my daughter? And she said yes. So I show up. Curtis was with me. I was still, me and my husband are high school sweethearts. So Curtis took me. All I had was my garbage bag of things that I needed. Didn't really have that much stuff. And I show up at the wrong person's front door first and then find out it was the neighbor. So go to the right door and be like, hey, I'm Alicia. Like, I'm here to stay here. So that was interesting. Turns out they're my adopted family now. Like, my godson is my older brother that was there. I now have a godson with his family there. God does such cool stuff. But anyways, so then I had to move in with these people I didn't know and still kind of go to school and all that fun stuff. And I, like, from that made me realize that, like, okay, I need to do the best I can do with what I've got, because clearly this is not in my control. There's nothing I can do about this. So I got to do the best I can do in school, make the most of the situation, be there for my siblings the best I can be, and kind of see where it goes from there. So I did that. I went, like, I'd also just gone to a new school about a month before this. I forgot to say that. So anyway, start doing that, whatever, start working. I started working at No Frills as soon as I could, because I knew I needed a car to do anything, because I lived in Angus and everything was in Barrie. And this was before there was a bus or anything like that. They had nothing cool when I lived in Angus. And so, yeah, from there, and then in school and stuff like that, in the new school, made some really close friends that are still close friends of mine today, which is super cool. But they really helped me through kind of wrapping my head around what was happening to me, because it was hard for me to even understand, because before I had done all this, I grew up in a very small church. So my whole life really, truly flipped upside down. I had never even been to a public school. There was 4 kids in my grade instead of, I don't know how many thousand kids in the whole, I don't know. I forget. But they helped me navigate a lot of that. And then I forget how it was that made me for sure go, oh, that's when it was. It was when I looked into some other things I wanted to go to school for. And I just kept coming back to, like, hair. No, nothing sounds as good as hair. Like, I don't care if the money might not be there, or because I didn't know I had no idea. It always had this weird look on it. But I'm like, no, my heart just tells me to go for it. So I'm going to do it. I don't care that no one thinks it's a good idea. I'm just doing it. So I worked my booty off. I got myself my car. I think a couple months before I was supposed to start school, I applied for OSAP. I was able to get approved. Everything ended up just kind of falling into line. So I was like, okay, I got this. So then I was able to go to school, still work at No Frills. I also cleaned for some lady, like, just off Kijiji part-time, while I was in hair school, and just, like, kept going. And every single time it got harder, I was like, nope, harder could be not highly have a bed. Like, I have to keep going here. Like, I'm not gonna get out of this and get out on my own ever, unless I can really get myself, like, going here. And that was just always my motivation. Like, I am better than what's happened to me. I am more than this. I deserve more. I deserve to be able to not worry about what's going to happen. And I'm just going to keep pushing to do it. And I guess, I don't know, I keep doing that every day when it gets hard. I go back to remembering that.
That's certainly a driver. Survival mode can be quite a motivator. I experienced a bit of that in the pandemic, with pretty much working up to your whole life, up to something, putting 9 years into a business, and then having COVID pretty much almost take it all the way. And then some other decisions along the way that forced the rest of it. And then, starting what we started, got no other option than to do it. But thank you very much for sharing that. I did not know that about you, and I think that shows a testament to the resilience of who you are and where you are today in your business. And so knowing you on a personal level, I can say with conviction that you are absolutely lovely. Super happy to have the conversation with you.
Thanks, Fran.
So moving forward from that, let's maybe move on to something I think the listeners would want to know. And that would be what you would want them to know. What would be one thing that you would want our listeners to know about your business?
I would say the one thing I would want you to know is how much your hair can do for you. I don't know. Some people don't. I don't know if they've never been told how to style your hair, or how. I don't know. Just some people don't realize the power your hair can have for you. And if there's something that some days you just wish that there was a little bit of something you could do for yourself just to feel a little bit better, or you just need a pick-me-up. Sometimes just giving yourself a little hair treatment, or styling your hair cute, curling it, toning it a different color. Like, there's so many different little things that can just make you feel just a little bit better. And you haven't had to do anything crazy or anything like that. It's just a little feel-good self-care thing. And hair is something that can be such a small or big part of self-care. And it's also something that, I don't know, as much as we say it's just hair, it'll grow back, everyone does have a little thing about their hair. They love it. And you like to feel good, and you feel good when your hair looks good. So if there's ever something that people should remember, is to care about your hair, I guess. And I don't know, I care about hair so much, and I don't know if any other stylists will care about your hair as much as I'm going to care about your hair. So I don't know, maybe that, just if you go anywhere, make sure they care about your damn hair, because it's so important and so special.
And for those who are interested, love the conversation, and maybe like to check you out or try you out, what would be one of the best ways that they can go ahead and do that?
My website is www.colourfullyustudio.com. My Instagram is colourfully_you, and my Facebook is Colourfully You Studio. I have Google and Yelp as well. They're also Colourfully You Studio. Everything's pretty much Colourfully You Studio everywhere. That's how the best way to find me.
And keep it nice and consistent, easy to find.
Trying.
Very fun conversation. I think people enjoyed that. I certainly did. And thank you very much for coming on the show, and looking forward to potentially doing this down the line.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the time and space with you, and I appreciate what you're out here doing so much. So much love for you.
Thank you, Alicia. Talk soon.
Bye, Sean.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Midhurst. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpmidhurst.com. That's gnpmidhurst.com, or call 705-413-3775.